Hi, my name is Claudiu, and together with Abdikarim, have designed and built an application called SqueezeMe. SqueezeMe is a simple and straightforward app that allows you to quickly test your knowledge on a specific technology. It is a good way and an adequate way of reinforcing the knowledge accumulated from courses, tutorials, or other sources of information. This application is for everybody who is interested in IT, coding, programming. For students as a self-evaluation tool, for tutors as a tool during their teaching and evaluation process, for recruiters as a recruitment instrument, and for employers as well as a part of interview. So basically, this is a good and a fast way to test yourself or to be tested. I was in charge of the front end of the project to build the interface and the functionality of the app so that it would work when the API is called. For that, I have used variety of technologies and tools as a draw for sketching the app and its features, CSS for styling the functional components that I used for functionality. The app was coded in VS Code editor, and we have used GitHub as version control system. The communication between me and Abdi had happened using Slack and Google Meet. This was the initial concept of a Squeeze Me application. In the end, came up simpler, but the initial ideas can be implemented in the future due to the way I built the relationships between components. I will discuss this topic a little bit later in the video, but the idea was to have a navbar here with the title and a few buttons and links, an about button that would take the user to a short description of the application, front end, a link that will take the user to a quiz for the front end technologies, the same with the back end, and total score for the front end and back end, and the recent button. The second part of the app would be a container that would contain the questions and the answers called from an API, and the answers would light up green if correct or red if wrong. The next button for loading the next question, a counter if the quizzes would be built against time, and an intermediate message depending on the user's performance. Please allow me now a quick demo of the application. As you can see, this is the user interface, simple but effective, and it's for the bravest only. And so if you're brave, give it a try. I've got a navbar here with the name, Squeeze Me, and two buttons that will take you to two separate pages. It's about would take you here, telling you that Command Shift inspired us to build this app. And if you need more information about how the app was built, you can access mine and Karim's GitHubs for more details. If you go home and actually you're brave, you'll take the quiz. And we are apparently the last question, which is what is this expression known as? If you don't know, as I would, I just press, let's say, ambiguous operator, which is actually wrong. It's a ternary operator. I have no idea what that is. Please press next. Well done, which is not really well done. Well, what I mean, you've been squeezed. Performance 0 of 20. You're gonna play again. You play it again, and all the questions are from the front end. It is React is a library. Okay, which of the following is a React feature? Let's say SQL, not really, and so on. You get the idea. You just press an answer, and if it's correct, it's green. If no, it's red. Yeah, you just go on and do this all the time until you get to the end, and the end will give a right score. So yeah, this is the app is not complicated at this stage, but as said, it can be improved with quizzes for either front end, back end, or even from a specific that would allow you to test your knowledge against. Yeah, on the left hand side, as you can see, it is the file structure of the application with the main source folder that contains the components, all the components I've used for the app, contact data with the data file, which actually it's only mock data that I used before to test the functionality of the app. But then we have used an API, the Abdi build, and the styles folder with all the CSS files that styles the components. One of the main challenges in React apps is managing state, and the way you do it depends on the complexity of the app you want to have. For small applications, the state is managed by a use state hook, and that's just fine. But if you want to build a big, a strong, scalable application, there are others way of doing it and harder ways of doing it. And this is the approach we've done it. We have created context at the global level using create context and use reducer hooks. So basically what I've done was to place a state in the context and then sharing it at the global level through a provider. And in this way, all the components children will have access to the state without sending down props from the parents components to the children. This is a more complicated way, but it's a more scalable way, and you can add as much complexity and you want or need. One last thing I want to share with you is the way we call the API within the app. As you can see here is API URL with the address deployed on the render, and we call it within the app using use effect and a fetch. That's everything for me, and thank you for your attention.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdikarim Hussein. I'm a junior web developer. I would like to show you guys the API we developed for our JavaScript quiz. So the backend technologies we used include MySQL database, and this is where we stored our data for our API. So this will include questions and answers. I just show you here, this is the MySQL app. So when you run this command here, select all from questions. This is what's included in our questions table. So you've got the questions and you've got the topic. Okay, and this is dictated by our model just here. So you've got question model here, you've got the question, and you've got the topic here. So we used Express framework for the API building and Node.js for the runtime environment. So this is our app here. We've got the controllers. So for example, here in helpers controller, we've got this command here, get all items. So when we run a get request on Postman, we run the get request here, and with the questions route, we get back all the questions. We also get answers included with each question. So we've got one question here, and you've got 4 possible answers, and only one of those answers is correct. So for example, this question, what is React? It's a JS library, so that's the correct answer. It's not a JS framework, so that'll be false. And these other options are also false. So that's Postman that we use for API testing. And then we also got Docker containers. So this is our Docker container here at the top. And we used render for deployment. So this is render, our render dashboard. This is where we host our database. You can see here, PostgreSQL. This is the completed app. This is static site, but we want this web service now. So I'll show you guys an example. I've got this message here at the top. So anybody who uses this API link would know which routes are available. So this instructs you to use slash questions and slash answers. Go for slash questions. And this is the data. So you'd have your questions, and each question would have its answers attached, and this is all available at the front end. So there's possible upgrades you could do with this app, especially in the backend, is adding more topics, because we added front end questions, and there's also a possibility to add backend questions. You could add tests for a specific language like C sharp, Python, anything you want really. Also, there's a possibility to add user registration, so you could add your email, personal details as necessary. You could also add a message you get for performance, individual performance, and also you could add a countdown. So you could put like a stopwatch and at the front end where basically you get 60 seconds to answer a question. Yeah, and that's it. I'd like to thank everyone in the Command Shift team. I'd like to thank fellow students. And it's been a 6 months long course, and it did feel shorter than that, but it was a great experience, an important learning curve. And thank you very much for all your help and support.